All right, welcome everybody to another episode of the Turner's Outdoorsman podcast. We're super excited today. This has been built up a little bit. We have an extremely special guest that we never would have thought we'd have on our new little podcast here at Turner's Outdoorsman. But we have what we are hope and praying is the next governor of the state of California, Sheriff Chad Bianco. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
It's super exciting, and we're here with Gunnar Antillion as usual. Let's just get after it. What do you say, guys?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
So I've been in the industry, everyone knows, for I think almost 30 years here at Turner's. I've been in the industry even longer, hunting, fishing, shooting, all that fun stuff. And as a sheriff, we've always known you've been a big 2A guy, right? Being in the industry here at Turner's and the CCW kind of boom, we'll call it here in the state of California. We saw that happen. You've always been a big supporter of that side of it. Tell us a little bit about your background. I've heard rumor even that you hunt a little bit. Tell us a little bit about that.
I do. I didn't grow up in Utah. I didn't grow up in California. I grew up in Utah.
Okay.
So I came to California when I was 22, 1989. So that growing up, my formative years, I guess you could call it, or where I learned to be a person, was in a very rural. We were kind of considered. We're in between the mountains and the desert in Utah. So outdoors wise, we had a bit of everything.
That's where the big mule deer are.
There are some big ones. There was, my first upland game hunt I was 4. And with my grandparents, my grandpa, and then it was my first overnight elk hunt was 8.
Wow.
My birthday is in October, so every year was my birthday present was overnight elk hunting trips.
That's awesome.
So
you guys did the horse pack in.
We did.
Yeah,
we did. We horse packed in for elk. We horse packed in for fish.
Wow.
I had a pretty good life. Grew up with horses, grew up in the outdoors, motorcycles, desert, that type of stuff. But then also the hunting and fishing part. And it's really who I am. I still make sure
to get out
there's
there
not a year that doesn't go by that we don't hit at least one of the hunting seasons.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And we were talking offline, and why we kicked off with that is, we all have that passion in our lives, right? The outdoors passion, whether it's off-roading. I know I was always, hunting was first, but then I got into groups of guys that went to Glamis or Jeepers or whatever. We kind of do it all, right? I have side-by-sides or whatever you do, and then the whole hunting side. But a lot of people don't realize we have that, culture here. It's just, you got to kind of fall into those niches of people, right? They may not be everywhere. But like working here for so long, you meet the guys who are hunters or shooters, and then you find out which guys are off-roaders of that group or who likes to fish. And you kind of gravitate towards those like-minded people. A lot of people think in California, we don't have that big of a hunting and fishing and outdoor community. But once you kind of get and be a part of it, you really find those groups. And it's surprising now more than ever how many people are super pro gun and love to be outside and hunt or fish or camp or do any of those kind of activities. Off-roading's gone crazy. I know you do a ton of off-roading.
Yeah. So I was one of those people thinking that when I moved to California that all that stuff ended because that didn't happen here. And I quickly realized that whole niche thing that you're talking about, it is a little bit unique in California. Is there are different aspects of it. There's the upland game hunters, and then there's the big game hunters that may go in the central part of the state. And now I'm meeting people that only hunt in Southern California, and they get them every year. I have no idea how, but I mean, they're sending me the pictures of the deer that they get every year. And then the upland game hunters and duck hunting in different parts. And then you have the very wealthy people that are doing, club hunts and or going out of state or something like that. But there's still a part of it. And it took me a couple of years to figure it out because I had that preconceived notion that California was not going to be like where I grew up. Yeah. But the reality is it is. I mean, my kids grew up the same way I did.
Yeah, no, this is a great state. A lot of people being in the industry so long and the firearm side of it, people oftentimes when I'm in meetings and things, they go, man, why do you do it? Or how does Turner's do it? But you look at the area. I was just telling someone, I think we were talking a few months ago, maybe on an episode, but the opportunities are here. You have the mountains right here, in 30, 40 minutes, we can be in the mountains. In an hour, I can be at the beach. In a couple hours, I can be in the sand dunes. I can be in the Sierras fishing in a couple hours. I mean, the
Yeah.
opportunity, we're in a beautiful state and we love it. I think the thing that just kind of makes people frown on it is how much our rights are infringed on as shooters, hunters, fishermen, off-roaders. It's always been a constant thing. The last real 20 years, right? We've just been under attack, whether it's our firearm rights or being able to off-road certain places. Now you can't even fish certain places because they've
Yeah.
closed down areas that you can't even, have a boat or fish in an area. And a lot of that's driven by just this big anti band of people in
Yeah.
this
It's
state.
activists. So
Yeah.
California over the last several decades has just really moved to appeasement of activists. That's all it is. And the reality is the majority of Californians are very outdoorsy. California is an outdoorsy state.
Hmm.
You mentioned what we have here,
Hmm.
unlike any other state. And Californians enjoy their outdoors. And a vast part of the outdoors is hunting and fishing. And there are millions of hunters and fishermen in California. And I think a lot of what we have today is propaganda, bad propaganda that
Hmm.
was that demonization of hunting and fishing, that making it something that it's not. And good people just basically go with the program. You don't want controversy. You don't want to fight. You don't want to
Hmm.
argue. You don't want that confrontation. So you just sit back. And unfortunately, we've been taken advantage of for decades for the appeasement of the very loud, obnoxious activism. And that's what's policy has been made of.
Hmm.
You basically have, in the grand scheme of things of California, you have a handful of people that are yelling the activist part, that are being appeased and catered to, while the mass population is being affected negatively.
Hmm.
And that's what I think, that's where we are as Californians, is we're finally saying, when did this happen? And enough is enough.
Yeah.
And not realizing it happened 20 years ago. It
Yeah.
was just now all coming to a head. So I think that the outdoors part of California, I think, is finally waking up. It's the people that want to go off-roading. It's the
Sure.
people that want to go skiing and fishing and boating and hunting. That they want that. And they've been prevented. It's been shrunk a little bit, made too expensive. And now it's like, wait a minute, now you're completely taking it away from us
Hmm.
because I can't afford it anymore. The taxes that you're adding on certain things, or
Hmm.
whatever the case may be, all these background checks and the red tape to go through something. Well, I'm just not going to do it anyway. And it's harming. It's
Yeah.
harming businesses. It's harming the population.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I know in my young life, you guys obviously got to see a different side of California than I did. But in my life, and my dad, he's hunted so many years and fished so many years. That was something that was instilled in us, like my brother and I, and that's what we've grown up on. And I think with these hobbies, they teach you more than just, you go out and you harvest an animal. It teaches you patience and like hard work. You're going up in the mountains and you're hiking and you're working for something. You know what I mean? So it's more than that. And it's like quality time as well with family. But in my young life so far, what I've noticed is it's progressively gotten harder and harder and harder. But I think for the people that are my age, it just seems like it's the norm. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because they don't know any better. They haven't seen the other side of it because it's not our fault. We weren't alive for it. But
Yeah.
that's the one thing I could say I could speak for is for the younger generation when it comes to the two-way and the hunting and the fishing. We are just kind of born into what was already transcending and where we are now. And it's very tough to have people see the other side of it too as well.
Yeah. Knowing what it could be
Yes.
instead of what we're just dealt with and what we have to deal with. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's a huge difference. And I mean, even me coming here, the like small game hunting, especially upland
Mhm.
bird hunting, 10 times better than where I came from. But I would have never imagined that.
Mhm.
But I mean, dove and quail and chucker
Mhm,
and
mhm.
stuff like that. 10 times better than the state that I came from, and we thought it was good there. And I come here and it's like, oh my gosh, it's night and day.
Yeah.
And a lot of people either don't realize it or have shied away from it or are afraid to get
Yeah,
into
I think
it.
it. I think a lot of it is just a dying
Breed almost.
breed. We talked about a little bit with the Sierras. When I used to work in the stores, in the fishing department, 28 years ago, we'd see a big boom for the Sierra opener, and you'd see just people coming in and waves getting 10 reels, filled with line and buying hooks and trout baits. And then you'd talk to them and they were going to, Crowley or this opener, Mammoth Lakes and all that. It was a huge, it's like Dove opener is,
Yeah.
right? It's a huge thing. And that's died out.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of the grandparents brought their parents, and then, excuse me, it just kind of over time, there's less and less people were passing that, that event down
Yeah.
to their kids.
Yeah, very
and
unfortunate.
Yeah, it is.
It was a couple of, it was 2 generations in the making, really, a couple of decades, and there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just other states aren't doing this, so it's not like it was like human nature. There's no different growing up in Arizona or California. You're the same person, same brain. It's all the same God-given thing.
Yeah.
But it's the agenda here. And it's the agenda of this activism, the poor fish, you're killing the fish, and the reality is the best activism for wildlife is hunters and fishermen.
It's conservation.
I mean, we will make it work. That's how it works in other states. The actual activists, the supposedly pro animal rights activists, are destroying animals in California. Our deer herds in California are horrible because we have too many mountain lions, and now we got wolves, and now they want bears. There's not going to be any deer left. There's not going to be any elk left. And you bring back all these apex predators, and it's all for the activist. The hunters and the fishermen, they know that this is going to be a disaster, but it's just, that's that propaganda piece that it just becomes a part of life here, and then we're losing that industry. We can bring it back, though.
Yeah, no,
Absolutely.
I think it's definitely salvageable. I think one good thing that we've seen is the new life, right? The people gunner's age, and what we're seeing really drive that is social media, YouTube, things like that. So things like Sierras is booming again. People see that and go, "What is that? I can go there." And now you can Google, where you can go fishing, and they see things like that come up. They find shooting opportunities. Now we're seeing a really neat boom in new shooters, right? It used to be a bunch of salty old guys at the range every Saturday morning, right? But now you're seeing this band of, 20-somethings, 30-something-year-old people out there that are kind of new to the workforce and have a little bit extra money to spend, and you see them out in the stores buying guns and buying ammo and out at the ranges. I think the big shocker for them, when they come into the stores for the first time, we saw it really during COVID. We saw this big boom of new gun ownership, and people were walking in, and you tell them what they need to do to buy a gun, and they were shocked.
Oh, yeah.
Like they thought that they could buy a gun on our website and go pick it up, or that they could just walk in and you'd say, "Oh, no, you have to have an FSC card." And they go, "What's that? I have to take a test? When did that start? And you have to wait 10 days. When did that start?" It's like half the things you probably voted on not knowing. So it's good to see that group of people's booming, but we really need to get them to start voting. Right. They need to vote their lifestyle. And a lot of them just don't.
That's the problem. That's what we're hoping in this campaign that we're going to tap into for June and November is people's character and people's lifestyle and their beliefs and their what they hold dear. Because the reality of outdoor community is they don't vote. The people that hunt and fish and have guns don't vote. 80% of them don't vote. And if only those people would vote, that would be enough votes that no one else would even have to vote in California, and we would all be better off. But the reality is people have been convinced that their vote doesn't matter, or there's cheating going on, and they're going to pick who it is anyway. So who I vote for doesn't matter. So I'm just going to take care of my kids. I'm going to take care of my business. I'm not going to take time off work. I'm not going to vote. And those are the people that we're targeting. We're going to target the hunters that we're saying, even the off-roading community. The off-roading community, half of the off-roading community is the overlanders. And those are typically more of the liberal-minded, probably don't like hunting. There's a split there. But the overlanders, they're all Democrats and liberal, but they're losing their rights to go out and do that too. And they're like, "Hey, wait a minute, when did this happen?" It's like, well, that happened 20 years ago. It's just now affecting you. And so those are who we're really targeting. I'm a Republican, but if I just go out and target Republicans, I'm going to lose 60-40, just like we do every election.
Sure.
We're going to target industries. We're going to target the Hispanic community. Hispanic community is huge into guns.
Sure.
Guns and outdoors and hunting and fishing, huge part of the Hispanic community. But they think they're Democrat,
So
they're not.
Yeah, and it's really important. Gunnar and I sat down and talked about questions for you and some of the things that topics we've gone over. And one of the things we talked about a few weeks ago in preparation for this, and it was really something Bill Ortiz, who you met earlier, kind of shined the light on for me years ago, was the biggest issue we see here in California with people and the way they vote and the way they think is everyone kind of gets separatist, right? And that's the problem, because the gun guys go, just leave my guns alone and you can take fishing away. Who cares about fishing? Or leave my fishing alone, but I don't care what you do about off-roading. Like, you can close the sand dunes, but don't mess with my trout fishing. And really these activists, they don't want us to do anything. And we really need to band together, the fishermen and the hunters and the shooters and the off-roaders, whatever kind of off-roading you are. We need to come together and realize that we're the ones that make up this state, and that we need to go out and we need to vote.
That's a very good point. I've never thought of it that way. So now my gears are turning of how we're going to, adjust the message and everything else, because that is the truth, is the majority of Californians are involved in those things, and they kind of are separate. It's, even, I'm big into hunting, but there's a divide between rifle hunting and bow hunting.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
But why are you not on the same page? You're still doing the same thing.
Exactly.
It's still the same, saving the same species or hunting the same species. It's all the same, but there's that divide, and you don't, you can take away, I don't care about taking away scopes because I hunt with a bow.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's something silly like that.
You can't do that. It's like the same thing with lead free. We saw guys that were like, oh, we can have lead free ammo as long as we can do, we're bow hunters. Who cares about that? But we've seen that. We've seen it time and time again. I've been here long enough. We've seen all these different laws come through, and people just don't care enough. You get guys that are, whether they're international hunters and, they're doing things like that. And you look at guys that are local deer hunters, like let's call it the Hispanic group of people who hunt and fish avidly here. And then they see a ballot measure come up about importing elephant ivory, and they go, oh, who does that? That's not, but that's part of it. That's just it's a slippery slope. And one day you're going to talk about, importing African animals, game animals into the United States, or they're going to shut down bobcat hunting in California. I mean, it's really crazy, and we all need to really band together. And I'd say that's going to be a big challenge, and hopefully Turners can be a part and a voice for you to help you band these people together, because the fishermen, the hunter, the shooters, the off-roaders, we all got to come together. Right? We're never going to all agree on everything, but I can tell you right now, we better agree that these people are coming to take all of our lifestyles away.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And you can even add the hikers and the bikers.
Yeah.
It's anybody that is wanting to go outside of the city limits. That's who's being negatively affected. And the reality is there's millions, tens of millions of us in California. And that's really why we like it here, is for the outdoors. So that's I'm going to steal that from you. That's a good good topic for the future.
We've been talking about that a lot. It's just once we need that voice to move to Sacramento, not just get drowned out before it gets there.
Yeah.
Because obviously there's power in numbers and mass, and when you get a bunch of small groups coming once at a time, that doesn't really do as much compared to like a big group that's actually pushing towards something.
Yeah.
And that was probably one of our biggest questions, I'd say, because I see it too. It's just how you said, like the rifle and the archery. It's almost like it's like, oh, you rifle hunt, I archery hunt. It's like, no, we all hunt. We're all in the same group. We all have the same thoughts, and it's a big thing. And I think that's definitely something that can help push towards just helping everybody as a group as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So let's get into a couple more questions.
You got it.
Yeah. So talking about gun ownership. So I know we already kind of tapped into that, how the last 25 years or so have been crazy. So we got assault weapon ban, handgun roster, limits on how many guns you can buy per month, ammo registration, and then the new excise tax on firearms and ammo. So like as a governor, how would you even start to reverse those things?
Yeah, well, definitely they have to be.
Yeah.
They absolutely must be reversed. And over decades, they have made these into laws. They have changed laws. There are some regulatory things that I can change immediately. Anything that's regulatory, the governor can change with a stroke of a pen. If it's codified in a law, that has to be changed either by the legislature, or if it was a law passed by the voters, then the voters have to do it. So that's a ballot measure.
Yeah.
But the legislator is going to have to change these laws. And here's the deal. We've been lied to about guns forever. Guns have never been the problem. 32 years in law enforcement. I don't know I know thousands and thousands and thousands of cops. I don't know a cop that's afraid of a gun. There are no cops afraid of guns because guns are an inanimate object that are incapable of harming anything. They don't move. It's the people that we're afraid of. So we have, in this state particularly, there is a very unhealthy relationship with criminals. Our government loves criminals, and they believe that criminals are only criminals because you two have too much property. And if you didn't work so hard to be able to buy 3 TVs for your house, then Joe wouldn't have to break into your house and steal one because he doesn't work and he doesn't have a TV and you have 3. That's their belief there, that you're causing hard work and success is causing people to be criminals. That's their belief, and it's absolutely wrong. If you don't want to be a productive member of society, then you're a criminal. And if you're a criminal, you have to suffer a consequence, because to have a civilized society, we have to have an adherence to laws. Gun laws are only meant for you two. Law-abiding residents, citizens, are the only people affected by gun laws, because murder is against the law. Is it a knife? Is it a gun? It doesn't even matter. No one cares if it's a gun. The gun didn't do anything. The murder was the crime. So if you're going to kill someone, violating that silly little gun law means absolutely nothing. No one, take CCW, for instance. I've had a lot of blowback from the liberal anti-gun agenda because of my position on CCWs and believing that everybody should have one, as long as you're not prevented. So if you apply and you're not prevented, you're going to get one in Riverside County. There hasn't been anything bad happen in Riverside County. Not one thing. I mean, no one's going out and committing crimes. And I will tell you this, not one criminal says, I couldn't rob that liquor store on the weekend because the sheriff wouldn't give me a CCW permit. So I couldn't take that gun to the liquor store. They're already criminals. That's what we have to address. And every single one of our gun laws is meant for law-abiding residents. It's meant to tax you out of being able to afford a gun. It's meant to inconvenience you enough that you don't want to keep going through the burdensome process of obtaining a gun, or the background checks, or paying for those. All of those things, a CCW permit. Why in the world is a CCW permit only worth 2 years? And then you have to renew. That is absolutely silly. It's to get you to not do it, because 2 years happens like that. And then now I have to pay for it again, and I have to go through the process again. Yeah. When the reality is, it only has to happen once. You never have to renew, because if you do something illegally and you have one of my CCW permits, I'm going to be told immediately. As soon as you're arrested, as soon as your fingerprints are taken, you're booked into jail, you did something illegally, I now know that the following morning, and we're going to take away your CCW permit until you get that taken care of. So to say that you have to renew for safety reasons or whatever the case may be, it's just all a lie. It's a way to convince you that you shouldn't do it anyway, or you don't want to do it. It's burdensome, and so you don't do it. I ran for the office of sheriff on a CCW platform because it was taking 2 years for people to get permits. And that 2-year permit was basically a delay to keep you from doing it in the first place. Who wants to wait 2 years? And then in 2 years, your appointment came up and you missed it. And you call to, hey, I missed my appointment yesterday, and they give you another one 2 years down the road. And so, I mean, it's between 3 and 6 weeks now. And it's completely up to you how fast you're going to get it. But nothing bad has happened. Good things have happened. People have defended themselves or other people using their handguns that they had because of the CCW permit. So that there is nothing different between a 10-round magazine and a 15-round magazine. Absolutely nothing. There's nothing different between... There's no such thing as an assault weapon. It's an object. It's a semi-automatic rifle. That's it. It's either semi-automatic or fully automatic. We don't have those anyway. I wouldn't be a fan of those anyway. I don't even like shooting them. You can't control them. I mean, they're fun to just pull the trigger and empty the magazine, but then it gets expensive too.
Yeah.
But the others are just semi-automatic. They've changed the names to play on your emotions. So assault is a bad thing. So if we call it an assault weapon, then it's a bad thing. It's just a semi-automatic rifle. It's not an assault weapon. Those things have to change because California, if gun laws worked, California would be different than every other place in the country. And we're not. Our crime is worse. So you can't say that gun laws are making us safer. They're absolutely not. It's making criminals out of law-abiding residents. And that's what we can't have. So as the governor, there will be all of those laws that I have to either change, amend, or get rid of. And it's not gonna be easy.
It'll take time.
Yeah, I'm not naive enough to think that I'm gonna go in there and everything's gonna be better for all of us. It's gonna take time convincing them, but the reality is truth. Truth always matters, and truth being vocalized and put out in front of everybody, that means something, because then all of those voters are gonna hear it too, and they're gonna see it too, and then they're gonna relay that to those people making the decisions in Sacramento and say, hey, you better not be voting for this, or you better be supporting this bill because we're not gonna elect you again if you don't. That's how we get change in California. It's not by just electing me and putting me there. It's about people standing up and being vocal and standing up and doing what government was supposed to do, which is answer to all of us. And that's what we've missed for a long time.
Yeah, and I think having you in there as the last line of defense, so, we see every year 5 to 10 new gun laws get established and start making their way through the process. And it'd be nice to have more people that are outdoor minded just bat those down, even if they were to make it through the legislature, knowing that we have a governor in there that understands what the real people of California want, and that we want our guns, and we want to be able to hunt, we want to go off-roading, we want to go hiking, we want to go fishing, we want to go boating, right? There's an enormous amount of people out there, but I think a lot of them, they just keep their head down and they work so they can afford their hobbies here. And they're just not vocal enough. So hopefully in the next 11 months, we can get vocal enough and get an army backing you up and understanding what's going on and get them out to the polls and vote, because that's going to make all the difference.
Yes, it is.
So like talking about the CCWs, we were looking at, it's around 60,000 that you gave out, correct?
Yeah, I think we topped 65,000.
Wow. And like you said, the crime, obviously, from the law-abiding citizens, there's no change in that.
None.
Yeah.
Because law-abiding citizens don't commit crime.
Exactly.
It's in the word.
Yeah.
I mean, a CCW is only going to be issued to a law-abiding Californian.
Exactly.
Law-abiding Riverside County resident. So law-abiding residents don't commit crimes.
Absolutely.
Bottom line. And the law-abiding resident is doing it right, saying, I'm coming to the sheriff asking for permission. I don't want to get into the argument of the Second Amendment and it's our right and everything else, because even from the beginning of our country, there were always towns, western towns, wild western towns, where you came into town, you had to take your gun off, leave it in the sheriff's office, and when you left town, you could pick it up and take it home. So there's always been gun restrictions to try and curb violence. So I don't want to get into that big old argument, but a law-abiding resident doesn't come to the sheriff and say, can I please have one? This is my background. This is my address. This is all my information. I'm going to go through the training. I'm going to do all those things. I just want to be able to carry it when I want. Criminals don't do that. So it's pointless. And even there is no argument to say that a CCW is somehow harming California when you have other states that issue way more than California does, and other states that don't even have it. You can just carry it anyway. There's no big uptick in violence. And you really just have to compare California. California is worse than other states. So reality and truth is really what I have on my side, because that's all I'm concerned with. I don't care about emotions. I'm not going to emotionally argue your point of view emotionally because you don't like guns or you're afraid of guns. That's not the point. If you're afraid of guns, that's okay. Don't have one. Because if you're afraid of it and you don't want to handle it, it's going to be dangerous when you do. So don't have it, but don't stop me from having it, because I'm going to save your life someday. That's what we have to get to, where it's okay if you don't like something, but everybody else does. So you don't get to influence them. And the reality and the truth of guns and gun laws and anti-gun laws, that's really, I'll just broadcast it constantly. And we have to change that agenda and that bad propaganda that has led people believe that somehow these gun laws are helping when they absolutely do nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think with social media, so running the social media accounts, you can comment and voice your opinion. It's free. Probably the biggest, it's not even a question, it's just a statement from followers. It's why are we being infringed upon? Why are we being punished? Why aren't criminals, being punished? They
Yeah.
just feel like it's a slap on the wrist, slap in the face. That's probably the biggest question that comes up. And there's only one way to solve that. And it's voting. You know what I
Right.
mean? And it's going out and believing that your vote matters. And like we said earlier, but like finding a group and pushing it towards a common goal. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So that's the biggest question that comes up every single time. So what can you say to our followers?
You said it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's about voting. Our government is set up that you can change your government every 2 years. If you don't like the direction your government is going and your government officials, change them every 2 years. That's how often elections happen. It's either 2 years or 4 years, depending on the office. So governor is every 4 years, assembly, and those are every 2 years they have to run. So you can completely change the direction just by some bad things, bad laws being passed. It's like, hey, I don't like that. So all of you people that voted for that, you're out next time because you're making bad decisions for the majority of us. But what has to happen is everybody has to stand up and realize that if you're going to be a true free American, your biggest freedom and the biggest thing granted to us is the ability to vote because you get to pick your government. My favorite quote of all government is Thomas Jefferson, and it's, the government that you elect is the government that you deserve. And as rude and crude as that is in California, we deserve the government we have because we California voters put them there. And then I go one step further and say between 30 and 60%, depending on the election, of Californians don't vote. So average, we'll just say 50%. Half of California is not doing their American duty of picking our government, and they're letting the other half do it for them. And I'll just end that part by saying, if you don't vote for what you believe in, for character, for your values, and all of those things, then you are voting for the other person because you are not adding that number to make sure that your side wins. And if you're not going to do that, then you are making sure that the other side wins. And that's where we are in California. We all say that California is more red than what it is. California, if you just look on who gets elected, it's all blue. Well, 60% of us don't vote. So if the 60% voted, it could be a landslide.
Yeah, the other way.
Conservative state. And we have to get to that point quick.
We do. Because it just is it's going really bad. It's getting scary.
Yeah.
So on the topic of
fixable.
CCW and kind of the Second Amendment too, how as a governor could you balance the public safety and while not infringing upon the Second Amendment? That's kind of a question that popped up a little bit when it comes to the rights. Because I know we see in Los Angeles County, it's been very slow, or there was a very slow process to get your CCW.
Yeah.
So how do you proceed that as a governor?
Yeah. So here's the funny thing about the state that I didn't actually know until I became the sheriff. The state makes it very easy to get a CCW. Very easy. The application is short. It's easy. It's concise. Fill it out and then turn it in. The difficult part is when you go to, you brought up Los Angeles. It's almost impossible to get one in Los Angeles. That's because the law enforcement entity doesn't want to. There's many excuses, but the bottom line is they don't want to. And I'll use my department as a perfect example. It took 2 years for anyone to get it here. And there were only 3,000 when I took office. And now there's 65,000. You can't say you can't do it. And you can't say that there's not a desire because there are thousands of people every single day that are applying. It's nonstop. And as the governor, I can't tell you that I have the perfect solution. The perfect solution is going to be a great solution, but a lot of people aren't going to like it because it's going to put it in the hands of the state. If you put it in the hands of the state DOJ, then it takes all of the personal opinions of sheriffs and chiefs of police out of it because that's where the law says right now. So here's your state application, but the final decision is up to either the sheriff or the chief of police, the issuing person in your community. And if you have half of the sheriffs in the state that don't want to issue them, then half of the people in the state are not going to be able to get one. If we can do a couple of two things, but one would not be ideal, and that would be to allow you to apply anywhere in any county. So someone from Fresno is easy to get, but say someone in LA apply in Riverside County or Orange County or San Bernardino County.
Mm-hmm.
That would be okay, except we would be inundated and we wouldn't be able to, we would price us out of it. We would have to charge too much to accommodate all of the things that we would have to do. It's too much resources. If the state did it and made it relatively easy like other states have done it, and when I say easy, I just mean possible, not easy, because we don't want it to be easy, but it still has to be possible. You still have to go through the process. And then if it's an arbitrary, non-arbitrary, non-biased, look, they filled out the application, they're not prevented from it, so they get it. And then the state issues it, state DOJ or the attorney general, whatever the case may be. And then the sheriff is taking out of it. That chief of police, that political aspect is taking out of it. That's a possibility. But that's going to be, I can't tell you what the easy answer is going to be. It's going to be difficult. I just wish everybody would do it. And a lot of it, though, I know other sheriffs in the state that are having a hard time doing it. If you listen to the LA County sheriff, he says it's because of money. He doesn't have the money to do it. It's like, well, I'm sure we could find money to make sure you have a CCW unit program that you've got 20 deputies that can start doing these
Background
applications. Yeah.
And for people who don't know, because the CCW, I've talked to a lot of different people, and a lot of people are love the idea of it for themselves, and some people just don't want to have the lifestyle of carrying a gun every day.
Yeah.
But for those of you that are listening out there, when we talk about how easy it is to get a CCW, it's not that easy. It's a very responsible process.
It is.
You have to go through an application process. Like I live in San Bernardino County, so you go through a process there. They do a big background check, make sure that all your past life is clean and clear, and you're of a personality that should or be okay to have a gun.
Yeah.
And then you have to go through training, right? You have to go through a 16-hour training class where the bulk of that's not so much hands-on firearm training. There is a significant portion of that at the end, but a lot of it is that sheriff is giving that person a tremendous amount of responsibility,
Right.
that person needs to learn and understand what it means to be a citizen that's armed and walking around with a firearm, and what implications there are to using that firearm improperly and things like that. So it's not like we're just getting cards handed out to us. The people who have them, they go through a very stringent background check process and some training and things like that.
And the bottom line is you can't have a criminal background and you can't have a mental health issue background. And I mean, I'm the one putting my name on that liability, giving you that ability to carry that gun with you concealed to protect yourself and other people. But at the same time, I don't want a criminal having a license to carry a gun. If a criminal who is out there victimizing us has a gun on them, I want that to be an extra crime because I don't want that person armed. If you're a non-criminal, I don't care if you're armed. So that's where, as long as you're not prevented, you should be able to get one. And it should be relatively, that's the easy part. That's where it's semantics word. So it's not easy because you're going through background checks and everything else, and interviews, and you don't just
you don't just sign on the
download
line
a form.
Get one. So it is a process. But you know what doesn't have a process? The bad guys. Who roll out of bed and tuck a gun in their waistband and go about their day doing bad things to good people.
That's exactly
right. And that's the problem. It's far too easy for those guys to walk around armed. And that we have some challenges as law-abiding citizens where we're, the deck stacked against us because we make, the right decisions, right? We try to follow the rules.
Yeah.
But those guys don't have rules. So even though our Glocks got taken away from us recently, right, they can still have their Glocks with their machine gun switches on them. Because that's the lifestyle they're living. So like you said before, the real loser in these are the people who try to do things right.
Yeah.
Right. The
And
law-abiding guy.
and just since you brought that up, I want everybody out there to realize, because there's a lot of Glock haters, and it's like, oh, it's a Glock ban. I don't care. I would never own a Glock. Well, that's not a Glock ban. They just called it the Glock ban. It's striker fire. So any of you out there that have your striker fire firearms,
yeah, now
that
it's come
affected
down
you.
to a piece in it. So it's a cruciform.
And it's
trigger
not even
bar,
a piece
so-
in it. It's the possibility of having a piece in it. This was a serious infringement on our right to bear arms, especially the technologically advanced striker fire platform that our military goes to it. I mean, you can't tell me it's a dangerous weapon if the military's using it. You can't tell me that it's this horrible thing if all law enforcement are using those guns.
It's
we
just
were lied
another
to again.
attempt at a gun grab.
That's all
Another
it was.
way to keep us from
It
selling
stopped us.
guns and owning guns.
Yeah.
And
It stopped us in California from having the most a well balanced, good platform gun at a reasonable price. They eliminated it in California.
yeah, it's super unfortunate. What else you got there, Gunner?
Well, I mean, kind of go more on that topic. It's just, it seems as if everything, you got people that are speaking on topics that they don't completely understand. You know what I mean? And the Glock ban was so controversial, so many DMs and messages. And we did a podcast about that too. And it's just unfortunate to see how things transpire. And it is a slippery slope, like Mike said earlier, because it always starts with one thing, and then it's kind of like a trickle effect comes off and it starts branching out too.
Yeah.
It's
So what you have to realize in California is the governor played a part in these decisions. The governor is not in a vacuum that doesn't know what the legislature is trying to pass. He's a part of it. He's setting the agenda. So with my agenda of reversing that, the way that I get that fixed in the legislature is exposure. People are going to elect me because they want a better government. They want better representation in government. They want people caring about them. That's only going to happen in California if you elect me as the governor, because otherwise it's the same Democrat legislature and the same Democrat agenda governor that have put us here in this position to begin with that's just going to continue forward. So how I do it is I can't do it myself. I do it by convincing them they've got to do the right thing or they're not going to get elected again. And I do it by exposure. So the reason why all of these, you mentioned earlier about, when did that happen? Somebody goes in to try to buy a gun and they don't know that they can't walk out of the store with it. They have to spend $600. And what do you mean? I'm walking out with nothing?
Yeah.
But that happened decades ago.
Yeah.
And so those are the things that have allowed to happen in California. I would never allow that to happen. As I know what is going through the process, the bills that are being argued and considered, if I think that's bad for California, I'm going to be on the steps of the Capitol building every single day telling the media, hey, these are bad. You better get a hold of your representatives because we can't have this pass.
Yeah.
And that's how you change government. You change government by putting the right people, but you got to start with the top because the governor controls the agenda. Bottom line.
yeah.
For sure. Well, I think let's sneak a break in here while we got a good chance to take a break.
Yeah.
What do you say? We'll be back in 2.
What's up, everybody? We hope you're enjoying the show. If you have not already, we ask you to do 3 simple things: like, comment, and subscribe. That's going to help us with our pursuit to 10,000 subscribers and also help you not miss out on any content like this. We also want to say a huge thank you to the sponsor of this video, Vortex. So sit tight for 1 second. We'll get back to the podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. We're here with Sheriff Chad Bianco, soon to be hopefully our next California governor, and Gunnar Antillion, going through it. Gunnar, you got some more questions for us there?
Yeah. So let's get into it. So obviously, current active sheriff right now and push for governor. What was the motivation behind that? Because I know it's probably taken a lot from you because you have a great position right now, but it's a bigger goal, obviously. So what's that push and that why?
Yeah, there's the why is for you. For 32 years, I wake up every day, I strap on a gun, I strap on a badge, I go to work to make somebody else's life better. And how, whether it's a God-given gift or how I was raised, I don't know. It doesn't even matter. But my joy comes from helping other people. My joy is not money-based. It's not things-based. It's I get joy from somebody else's life being better, and I influenced it. And that has made me a successful law enforcement officer. And so I look at California as a place where I came here for a better life. I came here for my California dream, and I truly achieved it. But now I have adult kids who are looking for other states for their California dream.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking at the Tennessee dream, the Texas dream, the Florida dream, the Utah dream, the Idaho dream, the Nevada dream, all of these different dreams, because those states are, it's achievable there. In California, it's not. And so in the position that I am, I became sheriff to create a better public safety for Riverside County, to provide a better service, to make our lives better there. And I realized that I was limited because of what was happening in Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
So in my battle with Sacramento, I've also realized that every industry is being eliminated or hindered because of Sacramento. We have the best state in the country. We have the best people. We have the best businesses. We have the best law enforcement by far than anyone in the country. We have the best geography. We have everything is the best in California except our government. Our government policies are driving people out of the state and preventing people from coming in. And so as I'm battling as the sheriff in Sacramento for public safety, I'm realizing that this next election is probably going to be the best time and maybe the last time that we have a chance of making a difference in California. Mm-hmm. And I saw the same politicians signing up to be the next governor. It's the same people, the same faces and names that put us here in this position to begin with. So if someone didn't do something, and if someone wasn't able to win that election and change, California is going to be the same or worse than what we are right now. It's certainly not going to get better. The same direction is going to be continued. Some of them are going to make it worse. And so I got to the point where I either need to stop complaining, stop fighting, or fight harder to make a difference for everybody else, because it's no longer just about law enforcement anymore. It's about our schools. It's about our businesses. It's about our environment. It's about everything in California. And there was a lot of things that happened. Prop 36, I was the face of Prop 36 from the law enforcement side that traveled the state trying to get people to educate people about how we needed Prop 36 passed and the dangers of Prop 47 and what we needed to fix. So it upped my name recognition across the state. So not only what happened in COVID, what I did for COVID and being the first in the country to stand up and say, absolutely not, we're not doing that here. That's silly. It continued with fighting for public safety. So my name recognition in California is good. We actually have the ability, the chance to win this. That's why I did it. It was, number one, I'm very competitive. I'm a fighter. I want to do things right. I want to make everyone else's life better. Yes, it's going to make my life better too, because it's going to make California better. But it truly is for everyone else. It's not for the Republican Party, definitely. It's not for definitely the Democrat Party. It's for Californians. I want to do this for every single Californian, make your life easier, because right now, everything about California is difficult. Cost of living, buying a house, gas, groceries, owning a business, operating a business, being an employee. There is nothing easy in California, and it's all because of the thumb from government. And we just need common sense put back in there. And that's what I have to offer. Transparency, honesty, integrity, character, leadership ability. We haven't elected a leader in California since Ronald Reagan. And it's way overdue, way overdue. We've elected personalities and people that looked good on camera or something like that. But we've never elected a leader to make a difference for the people that they lead. And that's what I'm doing this for, bottom line. And we're going to give it a hell of a shot. We're going to give it our best absolute effort. And in the end, we'll see what happens in the end. We're very confident we're going to win. We're leading the polls. The first time that a Republican has led the governor poll since Ronald Reagan.
Wow.
And that's me right now. And so we're in a good spot. We see things lining up. We see things that California is ready for a change. They're ready for something where the state and its residents are better instead of just a bigger government. And it's about that time.
Well, we appreciate it. I think that you, like you said, you're positioned and you're the right horse to have in this race for us. I think the key where now that you're going out of your way, a lot of people go, why would you do it? Right. And now we know why you're doing it.
Yeah.
And you're doing it for us. And what we need to do, we need to do our part. And we need to drag our friends and our kids that can vote and everyone we know and make absolutely sure that we show up. And we need to get together again before this as we get closer to the election and make sure that we're really waving that get out and vote flag, because that's
Yeah.
the key to it. You can't do it on your own, right?
Yeah.
We have got to, and I know so many people out there, they're so critical of our gun laws or where they can fish or where they can ride their dirt bike at, but they're not showing up because they've been so defeated over the last several years. They don't think they can win. But it's so encouraging to hear the momentum your campaign has, but we have got to spread the word and make sure these people are registered to vote and get out there and vote, because it's the only way we're ever going to make a difference.
Yeah. I'll give you, there's the fact of owning a cell phone now. I mean, we were talking about earlier, it's not a cell phone anymore. It's a computer. It's everything you can ever imagine. It's video cameras and everything else now. You use it for everything. But you have to actually realize that we live in a technological society now. So we know pretty much everything about everybody. If you want to live off the grid, get rid of your phone, get rid of your computer and everything else, because it's impossible to not. And I'm not saying it because of that. I'm not even saying it's a bad thing. It doesn't bother me. I don't care. I'm not that big brother person. It's like, I'm not doing anything wrong anyway, so I don't care. I don't care if somebody looks at my phone and sees my hunting pictures on there. I mean, who cares? I don't care. But here's a statistic. Roughly about 10 million gun owners in California. And it is absolutely not a secret that guns are under attack in California. Gun ownership is under attack in California. They want to rid California of guns. It's the most stringent gun laws in the entire country. 80% of gun owners in California don't vote.
It's insane, right?
Wow. It's insane. And this is for the people that are watching, and when you're saying you got to take your friends and your family and your neighbors and everything else, this is the importance of you reaching out to all of the friends that you have, because it's all in the same environment. You know which ones of your friends have guns. You know which ones of your friends have off-road vehicles. You know which ones of your friends have those things. But in the gun world, 80% don't vote. So roughly in California, that's 8 million gun owners don't vote.
It's crazy.
Last election, Governor Newsom won with 7.5 million votes. So just the people that didn't vote that own guns could have won that
Could
election.
make a difference.
Yeah.
And then they don't show, and that's why it's so important.
The belief is that the government's going to come take their guns, so they don't want their address out there. They don't want to register to vote. Well, the reality is, if you live in today's day and age, they already know if you have guns. There's no secret. There's nothing about you that is a secret. The government knows where you live. The government knows where you shop. The government knows where you drive. It's just a fact of life now. And we just have to be okay with it. As long as you're not a criminal, you shouldn't be worried about it. But it's preventing them, that propaganda of, I don't want to go to jury duty, so I don't want to register to vote. And it's like, come on. It's like, if we have to have people go into jury duty, because these people are getting found not guilty just because of some person. They're guilty as sin. But that was the jury we picked.
Yeah, it's if you get a mixed group of peers, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's a horrible saying, but the saying about a jury is not a jury of your peers. It's the 12 people that weren't smart enough to get out of jury duty.
Yeah.
And that's not who we want on a jury. We want regular people that can go out there and make that common sense decision. But I mean, that's completely outside the point. But it's saying that that's one of the silly reasons why people won't vote when they have a gun, because they don't want the government to know their address. Well, you already know your address. So you got to get over that. And we've got to make sure people vote.
No, it's key.
Yeah.
Especially, with certain elections, you have a bigger, certain election cycles have bigger turnouts, right?
Yeah.
Like we just had this 50 measure that was a special election, and it's so hard to turn out people. So the people
65% didn't vote.
Yeah. So the people with the deepest pockets, that are the loudest, like you said, that complain the most, that there's so many people who vote on things like that and they're uninformed, right?
Yeah.
They're just listening to what they're seeing on TV or on social media and things like that. So it's an uphill battle, and we got to get everyone out there and educate people and let them know
The key
this is
hope.
their chance. It doesn't come around. We've
doesn't.
been dealing with what we're dealing with in this state for so long,
Yeah.
and now we finally have a chance. We
do.
finally have hope in front of us, and the only way we're going to get there is if we rally everyone and we get out and vote.
We
for
do.
Chad
You mentioned
Bianco.
earlier, the sacrifice that I'm making. I have a fantastic job. I absolutely love my job. The department loves me. My deputies love me. The voters like me to where they're going to keep electing me as long as I keep running for that position. So why give it up? I'm giving it up to make everybody's life better. And Denise and I are sacrificing everything. I'm sacrificing this wonderful, easy position. And we're leaving home. I mean, I've got people taking care of my animals and everything else while we're out doing this campaign. I just need everybody else's help too. Yeah. I can't do it on my own. It's not going to be a one person deal. People will ask me sometimes when I go out and speak, well, what are you doing for this? And my answer to them is, well, what are you doing? I'm traveling this state every single day, multiple times a day, talking to groups. What are you doing to make sure I win? That should be the question.
Yeah,
it's what is the public going to do to make sure that we change California? And if we have that mindset, knowing that we're in the 20-year cycle, that things sway back the other way anyway, that this is the time we have to make it work. And then we have that hope that it's going to work. We have me at the top of the polls. So it's like, oh, it is working, but now we need to jump on board and make it even more so.
We need to get it there.
Yeah, we can do it.
And I mean, Turner's, it's very similar to your path across California. We have 36 stores, San Diego, all the way up NorCal, coast to desert. I mean, you've been all over the state. We've been keeping up with you as well prior to this. And we know you're constantly traveling, but that's another thing for our customers is you're going to areas where maybe they don't feel like they get their voice.
Right.
And nobody's hearing them, but you're going there and you're letting them know that, yes, I can hear you. And yes, I'm going to help you.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. Like you said, it's a sacrifice and you have a great position right now. And it's very respectful. And I just love the fact that you're like, yes, I have this, but what can I do more for the everyday person outside of Riverside County? It's just really cool to hear as well.
Good.
All righty. I think we covered it all. You got any more questions?
No.
You hit our listener question or our
We
social
basically
media?
hammered that one. Yeah. I mean,
good deal.
It was a
Alrighty.
great podcast. We appreciate it.
Well, we know what our job is. We know you're doing your job. We see it every day out there. We follow you on social media, and I encourage others out there. What is your Instagram?
Yeah, Sheriff Chad Bianco on all of the different platforms.
Okay.
So X, Facebook, Instagram. Supposedly, I'm going to have to get a TikTok page too.
Yes,
I have one, but we're not. We haven't figured that out yet. I haven't figured it out, so I need help on that one. But Sheriff Chad Bianco on all of those. BiancoForGovernor.com.
Awesome. And I encourage everyone. I follow you on Instagram and see a lot of cool content and see where you're going. And it really shows me. I've always known you as, the sheriff of Riverside County, but now I'm really seeing on who you are as a person and what you'd bring to our state as a governor. And we're behind you. Everyone here at Turner's is behind you. And I think we've been a little bit weird in the past on really circling our wagons behind somebody, but I'm going to really encourage Brian, our CEO, to really do something different because we need something changed from what we've done in the past, and we need to make sure our customers are educated and really get behind you and get people out there to vote for you.
Yeah, that's a good point because throughout history, we've been all told that we can't talk about politics and religion.
And retail,
And look where it's gotten us. I mean, they don't want us talking about it because they don't want us spreading the word. And we got to get to the point where we're supposed to be spreading the word, and we need a change. And I feel very blessed and honored that I'm going to be in a position to save our state, bring back the California dream, make our lives easier again, and especially with everyone's support.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you coming out.
Appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
You betcha.
Until next time.
Like
We're
and fall
here.
for more, everybody.